us or anything like that. I mean, if anything, just because I'm fighting bigger guys, maybe that might be a different challenge. I don't know if my power will, harm them as much as, when I was a featherweight or super featherweight, but I feel my power will be there, but I'm fighting bigger guys. They may be able to take a bigger punch.
Mikey, since you've been out, the landscape of the sport has changed dramatically. As you were sitting back watching all the things move around in the sport and the promoters and whatnot, how much did that weigh in on your decision to come back?
Well, it's not that I didn't want to come back. I had always wanted to fight, but when there's no fights offered to me, I cannot do anything. Top Rank did not offer a single fight in the 2 years that I was off. I can't do anything. No other promoter was willing to touch me or use me. I couldn't do anything. When they finally gave up, when Top Rank finally gave up and decided to, agree to a release, to allow me to, just get released, we took the release because I wanted to get back as soon as possible. So that's why now I'm actually able to get back in the ring.
Got it. How long of a period of time did you, during this 2.5 years, did you go without being in the gym?
A few weeks only, actually. I was always in the gym. I took some vacation off during the holidays this past December, holiday season, New Year's. I actually went over to Mexico, took a week out there, family. Hadn't been over there visiting family in I think over 8 years, so took some time out there, and that was probably the longest time that I was out of the gym. Every other time I was always in the gym, even if it was only 3 or 4 days out of the week.
How tough is it to train without a fight on the horizon?
Well, it's not that tough because it's something that we do, constantly just to stay in the gym. And it's fun to be there, being able to spar the other guys that my brother has. But it's not like actually having an opponent, looking forward to a date. That's the intensity is different. The mentality, is different. But it wasn't that difficult. I was just in the gym like normal. This is what we do.
You have people that have such short memories about there's always a new kid in town. How much are you looking forward to kind of showing, hey, this was Mikey Garcia back then, this is me now?
A lot of people still remember me. That's apparently still not forgotten completely. But after this fight, I'm sure everybody will be able to see me once again, and I think I'm gonna be better than I was before. I honestly think that everybody will remember me most for what I accomplished from this point forward than for what I did in the past.
Is there a way that even though those are 2.5 prime years for you, in a lot of different ways, is it possible that taking that break will be about something long term?
I really believe it does, because right before I actually had stopped fighting, I had even mentioned to my brother how sometimes I get bored, I get tired, it gets redundant. It's training camp after training camp after training camp, and I needed a break. I hadn't had a long break. I was always in the gym, always training for a fight, not just to stay in the gym, but it's hard work. You need time off, and I think this allowed my body to recover, heal properly, grow. I was fighting at featherweight limit since I was 15 years old, and I won the title at 25. So 10 years where most everybody's growing, I'm still trying to stay in one size. So this actually allowed me to grow, mature. I feel strong. I feel good.
Any regrets, Mikey, sitting after 2.5 years? Did you make that decision again?
I don't have any regrets because I learned so much more, and prove a point. I stuck to my guns. I fought for what I believe. I fought for what I believe is right. It's not okay for promoters to try to take advantage of fighters. They sometimes do. They're able to get away with it a lot of times, and fighters are not able to do anything about it. And I was lucky enough able to fight and fight in the legal court and just go all the way.
Are you fighting without a manager right now?
We don't have anything right now. This is all set up through Steven Espinosa at Showtime. Very excited to have me on his network. DeBella, who's putting the show, along with Heyman PBC, but there's no official signed contract, not even with Showtime or nobody. So we look forward to continuing negotiations, but for the moment right now, we put everything on hold until this fight is done.
So you're no longer with Cameron Duncan?
That contract had already expired back in May of 2013. I allowed him, and we continued to work with Cameron for the Lopez, Martinez, and Burgos fight, but just as loyal as a fight-by-fight thing. There's no more contracts.
Mike, is there any personal animosity there towards Top Rank or anyone that works there at that promotion?
nothing personal. It's just business. And I know that at the end of the day, if they need me or I need them, it's all business. I mean, I honestly believe Bob didn't know all the details regarding my case and my situation. A lot of it was misinformed, maybe, or misinterpreted by both parties. It's just business.
Why did he stress returning down the Crawford fight so much towards the end of you guys announcing that you were released?
Maybe they told him that they did offer me a fight when it never happened. If he's got somebody working for him and they want to show the boss that they're doing their job, they might even lie to him, telling him, oh yeah, we're offering him fights, but he keeps turning them down, or he's asking for too much money. Whatever reason, just to make the boss happy. In reality, they never offered a single fight. That fight was never even talked about, never offered. It was never. The Gamboa talks were still in effect back before all this started, back in like February, March. We were talking about Gamboa. First thing was the purse that they offered compared to what they told me Crawford was making was not something that we agreed. When they finally started to negotiate a little bit better on the purse, they wanted for me to fight at 130. I said no, we got to move up to 135. And the last thing that we didn't come to an agreement was because they wanted me to sign another extension to my contract, which I believe was already up February of 2014. So if they want to sign another extension, that means we got to renegotiate. My contract is up. They didn't want to renegotiate, they just wanted an extension on top of what I had. Those terms were set from 2009. That contract was set in 2009. I said, no, you cannot do this. You want to renegotiate, let's do that. When they said no, then I'm free. They said, no, you're not free. There's an extension already that applies. Well, if there was already an extension, why do you want another one? And then their response was, then you're just going to say, we're not going to fight you. I said, okay, then that's what we're going to do, then let's do that. They tried to push me around, I didn't let that happen.
Throughout that whole process, prior to you coming this close to Mayweather, did he ever talk to you or have a conversation? Because he had the same situation with Top Rank. Did he ever talk to you about this?
I never spoke to Floyd about my situation. Nobody wants to get involved. While I was in litigation, nobody wanted to talk to me. We briefly would hear other people that work for certain people or whatever, promoters, hey, maybe we can talk to you, maybe we can do this. But as soon as they see that there's litigation in process, everybody backs away. And recently Floyd told me that, now that I'm back, we can, sit down and actually have those conversations. But before that, no one's willing to talk.
To go that against the promoters and kind of just maybe start your own promotion, being that everyone kind of turned it back away.
It's not
regarding,
it's an ugly job. It's an ugly business. It's an ugly sport where, like I said, sometimes promoters do get away with a lot of things. Sometimes a promoter tries to muscle the fighters into certain fights, into certain positions. They don't offer anything, or they offer only what they want for their advantage, their best interest for their company, not for the fighter. I understand this. It is what it is. It's not going to change, a whole lot. You can change a little bit, but if you change it for yourself, it may not change for everybody else. I wish it would change for everybody. I wish it would be easy for all the other fighters, up and young, coming fighters that are, going through similar things or on the verge of maybe becoming something big, but they're trying to, maybe in a way hold them down and,
Do you feel maybe some of the guys at the Top Rank roster are getting more of a push than you did when you were on top? Maybe like they're being favored?
You're for the way I seen it and the way I very clearly, all we are is Todd DeBuff kept claiming, he kept claiming that he builds product. He kept, every time that we met with him, or every time that I heard him, legally, he kept saying that his company builds product, and that's all we are to him. We are just product. It's like an assembly line. You have a fighter, they build you, they grow you, they groom you, you're a champion, and if you're gone, they're on to the next one. It's just an assembly line to him. They're just building product. He kept emphasizing that, and I clearly see it. I was gone, of course they're not going to focus on me anymore. I mean, if they were still my promoters, they should have kept promoting me or offering me fights. The Aussies didn't care for that. They went on to whoever was next. And that's the way the company works. But when you speak to them, they, as a fighter, they want to sweet talk you as much as you can. But when you really see how things work, it's not like that.
With you having those differences with them and you noting that you would like Lomachenko, you would welcome him to step up, would that be a possibility? Would you work with them in order to make a fight like that? Because that would be a big fight. Would they have to take out like 135?
Look, there's a few things that have to happen in order for a fight with me and Lomachenko obviously to come to fruition. One, we got to be in the same weight class, and it has to be worth it for me, for him, the network. I mean, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd took 6-7 years to finally get done, and that's because it was such a huge fight, So if the right time comes and the right fight, the right money for both parties are up, of course you're willing to work with them. You're willing to work with anybody. That's the fact why I accepted the release at the day that I did. Just in case we ever needed to work together, that possibility is still available. I could have asked for other demands before they released me. I had them in a position where I could, really harm them if this went out the next day for court hearing. But they just wanted me out of their side. They wanted to release me, and I said, okay, for that reason, because I got advice from other people to just accept the release and walk away. Let's just keep going. Let's move on. If in the future you may actually need to work with them, or they may need you. And if you put up, all these demands right now, it might not happen in the future. So that's why we're still here. Like I said, we'll definitely work in the future. I don't know if it's going to happen right now, or which fight it may be, but who knows? It might happen.
What are you looking for in a promoter?
A fair deal, a fair business partnership. Where it's clear what he's going to make, what I'm gonna make, and for them to disclose everything up front. No hidden agendas, no hidden numbers that you don't find out. You want to make sure that everything is done the right way, that it benefits me as a fighter, not just the promoter. I get the promoter has to make money. He's promoting the show. He's putting a lot of money up front to hopefully make a profit. But he needs to be able to tell me up front what he's doing. I don't want any secrets, no secrets.
Mikey, Kell Brook is jumping up in two weight classes. It sounds like you got your map scheduled already. You want 135, 140, 147. Would you even think of just jumping straight to 147 2 weight classes like Kell Brook?
No, that's you gotta. I mean, if I did it, it would have to be only for a business sense. If there was, offer for $20 million, yeah, let me get Danny Garcia, Thurman, or Porter, whoever is out there. That's just a business. That'd be me, burning everybody because I'm just going in for the money. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure that when I do, I can compete at the highest level possible, and that I can actually win the fight. Where I have a chance to win. I'm not just gonna go out there and just because I'm getting paid. That's robbing the fans. That's in a way stealing from the fans, and that's not what we're about. If you build yourself well enough, where you grow and you mature and you build enough size to be at that division. And that's what I would do.
Do you think you love the sport now more than you did? Because you always said other stuff going on, like you said.
Right now, I think I have more hunger. That hunger grew again. Being that I was gone and I was able to kind of take a vacation and break, and that allowed me to get hungry again. I was good, like I said, I was getting a little tired, a little bored. Now I'm back. I'm hungry. I want to accomplish a lot more. But I've always loved the sport, but it's a different love than the kid growing up at 10 years old dreaming to be a world champion. I didn't have that, but I do love the sport. It's what we know how to do. It's what my family does best.
Who was the best, dumbest sparring in Oxnard with Robert's guys? What are the better guys in terms of sparring sessions?
We had some very intense sparring sessions with Marcos Maidana. Tough sparring sessions sometimes, depending on what they asked me to do. Whenever they asked me to box and try to give him angles, that wasn't so much more, that wasn't tough, that was just, me boxing. But whenever we needed to get him in shape, he needs to throw punch, he needs to, get into exchanges. Those were tough, intense sparring sessions. And, the guys that he has now, he's got Hector Tanahara, very skillful, little 130, I think he's fighting still 130. He's like 5-0 right now, but he's very, very good. Jonathan Navarro here from LA, very strong. And like I said, certain days, depending on what we need to work on, it gets tougher. But it's always great to be in the gym. You get a lot of different fighters, different styles. Southpaw, you got a guy Brian fighting next week in Lancaster. He's a southpaw, very, very strong. So you get a chance to really learn from everybody, even if it's just a couple of rounds. You know, it still helps me.